Hello, Olivia. Hello, Sebastian.
Hello.
You are right in the middle of your week of teaching in Montreal through CityTest. Unfortunately, we could not have you live this time, but hopefully it's only a matter of time before you can actually come for real, and we can really meet you in person.
And for us, thank you very much for still having us live online, and we are very happy with this week. Thanks.
The pleasure is mutual. So this is just a small casual interview that we do with all our guest teachers. It's the first time I get to do an interview with two teachers at the same time, so it will be a new experience for me. I'll just ask a question and you can answer, you can both answer, or if you prefer to let one or the other answer, it's fine as well. The first question is just, I would like to know where you're from and where you live.
So I'm from Slovakia.
And I am from Costa Rica, but we are currently living in Slovakia.
Yeah.
This year we lived very big part of the pandemic in Costa Rica. And then when they reopened the airports, we got our ticket to fly here and we decided to do it.
And it seems like because of the situation is still full on, the pandemic, we are going to stay for a while in Slovakia.
And when there's no pandemic, do you share your time between Costa Rica and Slovakia, or?
Exactly. We try to plan our year in a way that we comprise our work in Latin America or in the Americas in one part of the year, and then we move to the other to Europe to do all the projects that we have in the other.
Well, we try to balance it. When we were 1 year a lot in Costa Rica, the year after we tried, okay, now let's go to Europe, Slovakia, and then the same way.
We need to do this not only because of work, but because our parents, they would go crazy if they cannot hug us at least once a year.
Well, it seems like a good deal. I mean, you get the best of both worlds in a way.
Yeah. It also means having a clear tax figure in both countries, so we are paying taxes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So it has its ups and downs, you know.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yes. I'm curious to know a little bit about your background. How did you become dancers?
Yeah. You want to start? I come from a family of artists. My father is he's an actor and a playwright, and my mother, she's a primary and high school teacher, but she was always attracted to plastic arts and to painting, and she was not fulfilling her desire to do this. And one day my father said, you know, if you want to paint, just paint, start doing it, stop working in things that are not making you happy, and paint. So now she's a very, very prolific painter. Now she's retired also, so she's painting all the time and creating like art books and little projects all the time. So I was raised in a family of theater, so I started doing theater since I was young. And when I got the chance to study theater, I chose dance because I felt in that moment I was my teenage body was asking me to move, and I felt that theater education in Costa Rica was a little bit more static, so I could not go for that one, definitely. So I chose a very nice conservatory that was at the moment in Costa Rica, Conservatorio El Barco, made by a great teacher, Jimmy Ortiz. So I was in this conservatory for some time, and yeah, movement was the thing that really made sense. I have always felt like I've never abandoned theater as a part of me, you know, like it's something that we use when we dance too, as actors should use their movement skills when they act, you know. So for me, it was the obvious thing to go for this complement of movement, dancing. For me, it was the obvious career because I felt theater. I have learned already a lot from big, beautiful actors from Costa Rica during my time as a, just an actor going to act there as a kid, because I was not yet in the age to go to the university. So when the chance came, I said, okay, theater, I can keep learning from the masters, and dance is something that I want to explore like a profession.
For me, it was actually the opposite. I started with dancing. My parents, they were dancing in a folkloric group. My father also acted in this company, and me well, I was always very alive, a child, very hyperactive. I have older brother that is right now is a soldier, and since we were kids, we were playing a lot, but a lot of physical games and running everywhere around. And when I heard the music, I was always dancing. There was no way that I wouldn't be in kind of emotion. So my parents asked me that maybe you can try dancing, and so I was like, yeah, maybe yes, let's go for it. So since I was 4, and I entered to the like elementary school of art in a dance department, and then I wanted to continue this. In a conservatory in Slovakia, in the middle of, well, it's a city in the middle of Slovakia. And there I really liked it, contemporary dance classes. So when the time came to me, like, where do I specialize myself? I was looking to study a little bit more abroad, and I went to Salzburg Experimental Dance Academy in Austria. There I was for 1 year, and then I went to, I continued in Brussels, in Parts.
Well, she was full, but she went to Parts. It's a bad joke I always like to do when people talk about Parts. I was in Parts, but are you full now?
I'm surprised I never heard that joke before, because
I know it, but I only did a part of a Parts.
Parts. Good.
I was there 1 year and a half, and then I went to work with the French collective in south of France for 1 year, and then I entered the Ultima Vez Van de Kebus company in Belgium, where I met Sebas, and we entered. Well, he entered 1 year earlier with another projects, and then we met in a performance What the Body Does Not Remember, and with this show we were traveling the whole world for 3 years, and yeah,
that's how we were raised. She was raised in dance and then didn't finish her schools. I was raised in theater and I wanted to finish one school, so I went to conservatory.
The biggest school, when I really entered, like in Salzburg, we had a little bit of theatrical classes, but it was always through a movement. In Parts, we had really like the theater working with text, which was always a big challenge for me. And then in Ultima Vez, it's pure physical theater, action, reaction. So this for me, 5 years of working with them was a big school, like the completed university time, And then when we decided to create our own company and collective, we started to explore, a little bit more, mixing this, bringing more text, objects inside, and let it,
because regardless of how good is your school and how actualized it is and how contemporary it is, it can never prepare you for what is coming in professional life, because you get trained and prepared for what is happening now. So when you go work with choreographers and companies, they already want what would be tomorrow.
It's so true. What about teaching? Did you start teaching together or separately, or?
In my case, I felt the need to share the things that I was learning since very early in my process of learning movement. I felt that when I was giving to people that maybe understood a little bit less in that moment of the movement than me, or people that never had contact with movement, and I could share with them the things that I was learning. It was helping me to bring the ideas and the concepts in a new way. You know, it's like not only getting them inside, but then you need to express them and try to say it as your teacher would say it. And if this person wouldn't understand it, okay, how would I say that thing? And then I started in that moment teaching contemporary class, and then David Zambrano came to this conservatory where we were. So I was very interested in flying low, and flying low, I am very little guy, you know, a short guy. So for me, going in and out of the floor is like, oh yeah, I'm close to the floor all the time anyway, you know. So flying low was coming very natural to me. So I was enjoying a lot sharing this information, you know, and I especially looked in David Zambrano's methodology of teaching, that he is looking more for how can you learn to teach yourself. And for me, this was something that marked me very, very much. Like and the other week, last week, we were having a talk with Joseph and Linda, and Joseph was also mentioning from Fighting Monkey, and Joseph was also mentioning about how a good teacher is the one that removes himself from the practice of the students. You know, like he becomes not necessary anymore. And for me, this is something that resonates with also the things that I learned from other teachers. And how can you teach yourself to move and to learn from the things that you are challenging yourself to do? And this is very important. Challenge yourself to do new things and new ways. So teaching came very early in my education or formation. I have always tried to, you know, like be very horizontal in the way I teach. Even now, we don't ask for levels of only for professional dancers, only for this or that, because we feel that when people from different backgrounds and different movement backgrounds, especially mix, both will learn much more than if we are all the professionals working together. You know, if we do partnering work and you are working with somebody that's super stiff because he has never done anything like that, then the work that you will have to do to transfer this information that you do have into that person and try to give them the, oh yeah, I understand, with just 3 minutes of exercise during a workshop. For us, this is very important. This is like very good pedagogical approach, instead of, okay, we all the professionals, we know how to do this and throw ourselves, so let's do it here together 3 hours, and then it'll be the masturbation for happiness, you know, like, and it's good, it's very good, we cannot do it, but it's also nice for us in the practice that we do. How can I, same thing that when I started teaching, I teach because I need to learn more about the thing that I am learning. Not because I want to teach to people, but I want to learn more, so I share it with everybody that I
can. Like nice how you finish, because there I will immediately take over. My inspiration. Well, when I was young, I was like, well, I don't think I could be a teacher. I will not have a patience, or you know, like very this like typical way of receiving, and I was like, And little by little, it started to transform, because when I was studying in Salzburg or in Brussels, we would have the studio free for us to explore, do different creations, or just play around. And this was it. We just played around, and we were creating different games and developing that. And then I was like, wow, but actually this is what is teaching, you know, it's playing with people, creating different rules, bringing while you play, you are kind of learning all the time. You read from the other. You are you practice the social skills, the way how you communicate, how clear I can be, and it's all about that. So all the things that I thought the teaching is, I was like, okay. Maybe because I am coming from this part of the world where still the teaching is the teacher tells you what to do, and you know, and so
yes,
so this kind of horizontal way of, okay, we are here. What I offer this, what do you offer back to me? You know, it's always what feed us more and feed this interest of sharing and learning more.
What is after like a week of workshop somewhere, what is the thing that you would like the students or the dancers to keep from you? What is the one thing that you would like for you is important that they would keep with them?
I feel that there are two main things. One is related to the technical world or the more the technicalities, and the other is related to more the philosophical world of our practice. One is we try always to try to convey the idea that plie, as we know it as dancers, has been sadly through academy put into a box of a movement. This is a movement. And the plie is understood as some bending of some articulation. But we feel that you can see how the plie, or the idea of the plie, the idea of grounding yourself, the idea of using the earth and receiving from the earth or receiving from other stimulus around, receiving and giving information, this is more a state than a step, you know. And we like to say always that the state of plie, it's a state where you can give and receive information from everything around you on the floor, and even the energy that you are giving away. Understood more like this, like a state of constant transition. Dance is a state of constant transition. It's not step, 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 you know. And in the middle of what we call steps, sometimes we have the pliés. And sometimes when people have difficulty dancing or producing steps, what we have observed is because they are missing the transitional moment, the moment that actually makes the step possible, the moment where you really get yourself into the grounding in order to go out, again outside. Every time we show a jump, and the jump has a very like acrobatic or very, I don't know, nice pose in the highest point, you see how the dancer wants immediately to produce that image in the highest point in the air, but then they are missing the whole thing that was the one that brought the body to that highest point. And we always try to teach that, or to bring that idea very, very clear to the people. And then second one is it's a work with empathy. We say empathy, it's very easily, we are walking in a very thin line with empathy. Empathy can be easily understood as condescendence. So you say, we do this, I say, yes, 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 okay. We do this, yes, 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 okay. Or indifference. I let you do whatever you want, I do whatever I want because, you know, I am empathic. But these two limits are sometimes confused with empathy. And empathy is this very thin line where I can follow you, I can resist you, or I can transform you while we create movement. And this can also apply for the way that we interact as people or as a society. You know, we don't always have to agree, but we need to definitely get into the same kind of energy, into the same kind of idea or conversation in order to be able to empathize, to even disagree. So we are now in a context where maybe virtual platforms allow you to put yourself inside behind a wall where no one can touch you. So from there you can attack and throw and talk, and we have destroyed completely conversation. And the sense of empathy is absolutely gone from this equation. So we try to movement to come back to this idea of, you know, like when you're facing somebody, you will never treat them like you. Some people treat others on social networks like this. Or maybe little by little, as a society, we are transforming in this type of people that would do that. But we want to convey the idea of we can disagree and agree and still keep dancing together, you know. And the moments when we crash are not like, oh, this is not working, this is not beautiful anymore. No, the crashings and the sparks between our disagreements are also the part of the movement that we are interested in.
Yeah. Maybe I just feel up like because you said it all super.
I haven't studied yet. This one I have here.
But also how we always finish our workshops is with as the processes that we are sharing something that sorry, I start again. Our work is it's open source, you know, like everything that we share with people is as a gift. we give it with it doesn't have this is a copyright, don't do that thing.
No
ever.
copyrighted material for us.
Yeah, because I think this is what is we think that it's very beautiful if people it's like, okay, this game I really like, I want to take it and I want to practice it and I want to, so they share it with more people, and by sharing that they also digest that, they bring their own things inside. So when we meet later on again, it's like, okay, I want to hear from you, where did you take this game? Okay, how did you destroy it completely, and what is the new appearance of these rules, or what are so
Yeah,
like this we collectively grow.
Yeah, this giving away our work, it's very important for us because we feel like this our work can really get bigger. We are also busy and very speedy also, that sometimes our own practice we are already trying to change. So if we give practice to people, then they can develop it in different ways, and we can then later experience it in a nice way.
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear what motivated you to decide to teach together. We don't, well, it's not so uncommon, but it's not that common as well. So why did you decide to do that together instead of going your own ways?
Yeah, we fell in love dancing together. We were in a company together, and we were there dancing together, and we had this small duet in between a scene that was sacred for us because it was a little moment where we could move and experience movement together, and it was also like a kind of a romantic duet. So
And it was very playful,
Yes.
super playful. So we could play each time a little bit different. We had little steps that we had. Okay, this is it. But then around we were doing, we were each time experiencing a new thing, and so this kind of playful energy, and also because the workshop or the teaching skills, no, teaching moments that we each were teaching in different places still separately, and we started to visit each other places, and we realized, wow, we have a lot of things in common in our methodologies or how we take the workshops too.
when we dance together, it's just natural. Like I just do something and Livia reads it very good. And when we pass this into the teaching process, into the talking, into the, okay, maybe I throw this idea into the workshop and Livia grabs it and takes it somewhere else. It was happening just naturally. And also we have very, very big difficulty to fight bad, like to fight egoistically.
Yeah.
And we have found that in some cases, couples that work together and that they give worship together and things like this, sometimes this is very difficult, and sometimes their egos come into there, or their personal relationship also come there into the thing, and it's very difficult to separate. And we don't like to put the people, the participants, as victims of the dynamic that we have, No, the dynamic that we create for teaching is the one of two professionals that love to move together, and that through love they found how to understand each other. So they try to practice this in the working process, because it's something that we also say, being consequent with the discourse. If you talk about empathy and the ability to have conversations, and we cannot work together to teach a class, then this would be a very contradictory kind of thing.
But there are nice strategies or games that we created for ourselves as well. And Sebas shared one game with me that comes from theater, and it's yes and. And the concept of this game is that I start to say one thing, and then you say yes and about this. So you don't
don't deny the possibility, you don't close it, you just keep adding to that. Okay, we start today doing squats. Yes, and then the squats will be with the hands going like this. And then we just continue like through there, and suddenly the class starts to assemble itself.
So this is a little help game, wherever the other things comes inside, because it's normal, it's life. It's like, wait, I played this game now.
We like to play with each other, so we love playing together. So this is good. And
well, it shows. I can feel the connection, the chemistry between the two of you. It's even through the camera. So it's wonderful.
Cool.
We are in a very special situation at the moment with the pandemic going on. I would like to hear you about what are the challenges of teaching online. I mean, it's a very different relationship with the dancers. How do you deal with that?
I think it's well, I start with very clear example. You know, our workshops normally when we are teaching, we are always like either in a circle or making it very 360. There is no okay, this is a mirror or this is a front. But right now, you know, like that we have this screen here. We suddenly, you know, came to this kind of concept and it was like, oh wow, okay, so we never do that, so let's try this, you know. So and also how can we still break that, or how can we still make that people don't depend on the camera but has their own responsibility of okay, now I get off, but anytime I want I get back again, you know, and not being depending on this camera front obligation.
One thing that I feel it's one of the biggest challenges is how as a group, a social group of people, you know, like our generation that is living this, how do we fight the fight against two main ideas? One, they you know, they are trying to put us at home and just to go do everything through the computer and this and that. And the second, that yeah, we could go into a transition of different ways of expressing and sharing our movement. I don't want to live in either of both of the extremes, you know. And I feel that it's very important that we create environments where if this is the possibility that we have now, we use it for the best of our needs at this point. But we will not let it become the thing that rules over us. You know, how can we create this balance? This is the difficult and the challenging thing for me. There is people right now, they are taking, if you're in the university, you are sitting in the computer all day, and then maybe if you have a second work and they send you to work from home, you just log out from one thing and log in with the other, and you continue on these things. So thinking, for example, in the thing that we do, that we are also going to teach movement through a screen. It's a big challenge about how do we not become the same feeling for the people that I am again sitting in front of the computer learning something or doing something, or you know, this is something very, very interesting for me. As the same as with creating art. What will be the creative, the artistic experience of performances through this new media that we have, if we are going to use it as a new way of performing, you know, that will create for the audience not the feeling that I am sitting doing something that I could do just tuning into Netflix and watching a movie that is better produced than me here logging into Zoom. And you know, how do we create a new theatrical experience with the tools at hand? This is for me the biggest challenge that we are up to. And I don't feel it's impossible. I don't feel it will be eternal or some challenge, something that we need to address in order that now this is the new normal and we are living in the new normal, so get used to that. I don't feel it's gonna be like that. I feel it's important that we are the generation that deals with that thing, you know. We said, okay, we are now in the all digital, all through internet, all online. Okay, I can be like an old guy telling to my younger, you know, we were that generation that had COVID and we were doing everything through Zoom, you know. I want to be able to tell them stories of how we tried to deal with this situation, you know, and how we didn't let it become the new normal. Now you're here sitting with me around this tree because, yeah, they thought that we were all going to be connected to cables in the 2035 and living through virtuality. But we used virtuality into our advantage, and we did classes, contemporary classes to our advances, and then we took this out and we went to perform or to dance outside. So I think this is the challenge, not to fall into any of the both crazes, you know, like, oh, the new normal, or oh, the you know, getting us into this imposition.
Yeah.
tools, and as tools, we can use them or they can use us.
Well, that's very inspiring. I'm happy to hear that. You mentioned games a little bit before. I have a game for you.
Okay.
That we play with our guests. So it's just a couple of questions I'm asking you, and you have to answer the first answer that comes to your mind.
Okay.
And there's no right or wrong. It's just a game. Are you ready?
Yes.
So you can answer. You can give me both your answer. So what other profession would you have liked to attempt?
Skateboarder.
Oh,
Wow, the first thing was astronaut.
sounds good. Something you always wanted to do but you never did.
Jumping from the plane, but you know, or from the mountains, like the squirrels that can open. How you call this one?
Yeah, I don't know. I know it's like parachute, but
skydiving
or something.
Wingsuit. This one.
Windsurfing, yeah.
I could grab your hand and throw together because I think it's the same thing. I would also love. It also came to my mind. Wingsuit.
Yes.
If I wouldn't be so scared of killing myself in the first try, I would definitely try that.
Creation or performance?
Creation.
Performance.
You complement each other. One word to describe yourself.
One what word?
Messy. One word to describe yourself. Oh yes, this.
That was fire.
Fire is good.
Reality or fiction?
Fiction.
Yes, reality for me. First thing that came to my mind, reality.
Fiction.
Because my father is a playwright and he has had many experiences where something that he writes that it's like this is too far-fetched. Then later he finds it in reality, and he always tells me, you know, fiction could never beat the reality. So reality is probably sometimes wilder than our wildest fictions.
What is your addiction?
Weed.
To my brain came beer, but it's not true. Tobacco.
Your favorite curse word?
Your what?
Favorite curse word?
We can say that.
We can say that. Oh, we are not gonna get bleeped. So I say picha. In Slovak it means one thing, and because in Latin American, in Costa Rican means another thing. So it's a human organ, but it's switched. So for them means the female organ. For us means the male organ. So
this one is very common. I think that's
we use it a lot.
First time I hear about that. A show that made an impact on you?
Jardín de Pulpos. It's a theater play from Aristides Vargas that played the National Theater Company of Costa Rica played that. I don't know, it was in the early 2000s or 90s. I was a kid. I saw that performance. It was just it changed my life.
Okay.
For me, Eugenos is a creation that we did together with a Slovak collective. We are still playing it. That was 2 years ago, and it's with an amazing director that is focusing on a complementary art. So he's a musician, theater actor, singer, and so we would sing like heavy songs of Tchaikovsky, and so this was very, very challenging, and I feel that it opened totally the new doors in what I can do actually.
Would you prefer losing all your memories or never being able to create new ones?
I would prefer losing all my memories.
Yes. Like, wait, the second one was the.
Never
Losing
being able to breathe.
Ah, no,
all
no,
your
no,
memories
no.
or not being able to create
Yeah, I think the first one. Then we can make new ones.
And if you could change one thing, what would it be?
I would never start smoking. We're supposed to be fast, no?
Yeah.
I would change wealth distribution.
One what?
If I could change something, like from anything, I would change
I thought it was something.
wealth distribution.
Oh, yeah. But it
How,
could be about you or about the world, everything is okay.
yeah. If I could change something about the world, wealth distribution, and about me, wealth distribution. I could get a bit more money.
And my last question is, what is your state of mind at the moment?
I am excited.
I don't know. Blessed, happy, honored, and thankful.
Livia and Sebastian, it was a very pleasant interview. I'm very happy that we could have spent some time together. I really hope that the next time we see each other will be face to face and that you can come visit us in Montreal. In the meantime, I wish you all the best for your future projects.
Thank you.
And all the happiness, but it seems to go really well on that side for you. I just hope it's gonna keep on going. I will see you tomorrow morning and Friday morning again for the class, but thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daniel.
See you tomorrow, Daniel.
Yes.
Thank you all that were on Facebook now.